Hello again, Heidi from Luna Fitness and Wellness. So today we are going to talk about the IT band. A lot of people have trouble with their IT band getting tight, causing some pain. Sometimes if you have IT band syndrome, you'll feel a snapping pain down here, right on the outside of your upper knee, burning pain, snapping pain, and it can be really uncomfortable. And stretching doesn't seem to really make it go away. So if you're looking for some exercises to do to try to get that IT band tightness to relax and to get some other muscles to try to take over some of the work, this is the right video for you. So the TFL is a small little muscle up here. It's one of the hip flexors. And it directly inserts into your IT band. So your IT band runs from up here down and attaches right above your knee. And it's a band of fascia, actually. And then your TFL, which is your tensor fascia latae. So tensor being, it's what helps to tighten that IT band. So it inserts directly into the IT band. It's a small muscle about this big. And what happens is the TFL is a small muscle, but sometimes when our other hip flexor muscles or other muscles aren't doing their job, are weak, or are inhibited, not working, then this guy's got to take extra pressure. It's got to take a lot more work on than it's really supposed to. It's not big enough to take on all this work. So then that in turn tightens up this IT band, and then you can sometimes get that pain down here. Chances are, if you have IT band pain or IT band syndrome, you also have a tight TFL. There's a whole video about TFL and stretches and exercises for that, so be sure to check that out. Hopefully you already did watch that video, and now this is the secondary video. So if that's the case, let's get started. So one of the things that a lot of people do when they have IT band pain is foam roll. And foam rolling is not really all that effective. And the reason why that is because the muscle that is directly underneath that IT band, which is your vastus lateralis, or your lateral quad muscle, so outside quad muscle, sometimes that IT band, when it gets super, super tight, it gets really stuck to that muscle. So if you foam roll, you're not really loosening the IT band, and you're not really getting it to get unstuck from the muscle underneath. So it doesn't really do anything. It's kind of like a tug of war there. So foam rolling is not really what we suggest to be doing for IT band pain. One thing you can do is active self-myofascial release. So I'm just going to move this bench out of the way so I can show you this guy. So what you're going to want to do if you want to try active myofascial release is you want to lie on your side. You're going to have knees on top of each other. What you're going to do is you're going to straighten the leg. So then when the leg is straight, I want you to see if you can find your IT band. So you kind of like want to try to find it. So it's a cord-like thing along your side. If you're having pain, you'll find it because it'll be tender to the touch. And you're just going to find that IT band, follow it up, and kind of try to pinch it, okay? So I do actually have tight IT band, so I can feel this pretty good. So from here, you're going to flex the foot, and then you are going to pinch that band. As you're pinching that band, you're going to bend your leg as you glide your pinch down the length of that IT band. So keep bending into a hamstring curl as you're gliding down that IT band. I am going to tell you, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. What we're doing here is we are trying to glide along this IT band, getting it to loosen from that vastus lateralis underneath, and we are also engaging and activating the hamstring while we are lengthening the quad. So there's a lot of things going on here. So you're going to take this and just flexed foot, slowly bring it up, into that hamstring curl as you run those fingers down that pinch along that IT band. So you're going to want to do that for like 1 to 2 minutes to try to get some space and room between that IT band and that muscle underneath. So that would be the first exercise. The second exercise is to try to get the psoas to be reactivated. So if you watch the first video, I talked about how your TFL is part of a hip flexor. So there are a lot of different hip flexors that allow our hips to move in the unique way that they move. One of those is your psoas. Your psoas is a really deep hip flexor muscle. It attaches along your lower spine, so obviously way inside. On the inside of your lower spine, it comes around and attaches to the front of your pelvis and into your legs here. So it's a really deep muscle. It's not an easy muscle to necessarily stretch or get at or things like that. And sometimes it tends to get a little lazy because we do a lot of sitting. And so it's not very strong. It doesn't do a lot of the work. Hence the TFL's taking over. So one way to try to activate the psoas and get it to start working again would be to have a seat on a nice sturdy chair. So from here, you're gonna kind of slump your upper body over. Okay, so rounded shoulders, rounded back, I'm slumped over. So now I'm going to lift my leg up off the floor. My opposite hand is gonna come over and put pressure on the top of this thigh. So not on the knee, on the top of the thigh. I'm gonna be slumped over. I'm going to tilt my pelvis under just a little bit. And as I do that, I'm gonna put pressure, really downward pressure onto that lifted knee. And then I'm gonna slowly come up to stand or to sit up straight and then gently release the leg. So again, slumping down, lifting the leg, other arm comes across onto the top of the thigh. I'm putting active pressure, but holding my leg still up. Active pressure coming up into this unslumped position as I still put pressure on. So what we really want to be trying to work here is the psoas. So the psoas is more on the inside or middle of your hip area. You may find that your TFL is doing all the work here. So if you're feeling more activation kind of on the outside of your hip, when you have that leg up and you're pressing really hard and you're unslumping, if you're feeling this right here, that's not what you want to do, because that means that that TFL is doing the work and the psoas is not. You want to feel it more kind of in the front right here. So two things you can do. Do the same exact thing that we just did, but have that leg out at a 45-degree angle. So now my hip is externally rotated. So hopefully when I do this slumped hold and come up, I'm gonna feel more activation here than on the outside of my hip. If that's not the case, if that didn't work, what you can do is you can find that TFL over here, and if it's tight, you'll know it as soon as you find it because it's gonna feel tender, and you're gonna just jam your thumb right in there and then start over. So slump, lift the knee, press that pressure, jam that knee and that thumb into that TFL, and then slowly unslump. So what that does is it actually deactivates that TFL, because if it activates, it hurts. So it immediately stops activating, and that will help to get that psoas to activate. So that is your second exercise that you can try. The third exercise would be to get your hamstrings woken up. So sometimes what happens is our hip flexor muscles get really, really tight. We talk about this a lot. We stretch our hip flexor muscles a lot. Hip flexors get tight. They pull on your back, cause low back pain, cause hip pain. They can wreak all sorts of havoc. There's more than one hip flexor muscle. So, and there's more than one reason why that your hip flexor muscles are really tight. One can be that your hamstrings are not activated and are weak. So to kind of wake up these hamstrings, what we can do is we'll sit on a chair again. Knees are at 90 degrees. I'm going to lift my heels, and then I'm going to rotate those heels in but my knees are going to stay facing forward. So don't flop those legs out, right? So knees are facing forward, heels are in, okay? So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about pulling my heels towards my butt. So I'm going to be kind of like we were pressing away on the leg here. It's not really going to be an actual movement. I'm going to think about in my brain activating my hamstrings by pulling my heels towards my butt. So when I do that, I can feel the whole length of my hamstring start to engage. So that's what you want to do there. You want to really pull, and then you're going to hold for 5 to 10 seconds, release, and then do 2 sets of those. The fourth exercise is very similar to one of the exercises that we did for the TFL, and it is using the band. So you're going to do those monster walks with the band. I'm going to set this right out of the way. So I'm going to take my band. I'm going to place it under the arches of my feet. I'm going to hold those handles up nice and high. If you have a continuous loop band, you're going to hang on to that. You're going to have your feet about hip width apart. And then I want you to come down into a quarter squat. So not a full squat, not standing all the way, a nice quarter squat. And then you're going to do 4 steps to the left and 4 steps to the right. So what this is going to do is it's going to wake up the outsides, those glute med, which is also another part of the hip function, and get those guys strengthened and worked out. All right, so your 5th exercise is going to be, we're going to midline activate muscles. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put our band around a nice sturdy chair. You're going to step into the band with one leg. You want it to be right around just above the knee, okay? You want to have enough pressure on it that it's going to kind of hold in place, but not so much that it's going to be pulling you in that direction, okay? So from here, I'm going to come back into a split stance. So up on the ball of that back heel or toe. Split stance. I'm going to think about this right foot, so the front foot that has the band attached to the table. I'm going to think about pressing through the bones that are right at the base of my toes. So if I show you my hand, I'm thinking about right here, but on my foot. So I want to think about that's the metatarsal. So you want to think about really pushing through there in this split stance. So what that does when I push through there is it starts to activate the back of my leg. And then I'm going to have a slight knee bend in this front leg in that split stance. And then I'm going to do a nice slow hinge. Hinging forward and then coming back. So the majority of my weight is on that front leg, and I'm pressing through those bones that are right underneath those toes. So right above the ball of my foot, but right underneath those toes. And hinge and up and hinge nice and slow and up. And you're gonna do 3 to 5 of those and do 2 sets, okay? Then finally, the final exercise that you can do to try to relieve some of this IT band discomfort is going to be a reverse lunge twist. So pretty standard reverse lunge. You're gonna come back into your reverse double bent knee lunge. Hands are gonna come out in front, and you are going to twist and back, and twist and back. So what this does is it's going to stretch that TFL muscle. So you want to do both, obviously, for all of these exercises. You want to focus on the leg that has the IT band issue, but it wouldn't hurt to do some of these things on the other side, and this is one of those. So then you would switch sides, come down into that bent knee, arms come out straight, and you're going to twist and back to center, and twist the other way and back to center. So what that's doing here is I'm getting a nice stretch in that TFL, but I am also getting some nice glute strength which, as we know, helps with our hip motion too. I hope that that was helpful. I would say try those exercises, see if you get any results, do the TFL exercises and the stretching, and give it about a week and see how it makes you feel. I hope that it helps you out. Have a great day.